In a world with terrible movies, four friends compete against each other to watch the worst of the worst. After seeing the movies, they come together and review them for your pleasure. Who saw the worst movie? What did they think of it? Was it really that bad? The challenges are different every week, but Andre, Mike, Mitchell, and T-Dog have to have their wits about them. No one wants to see a bad movie, so to be forced to is the worst thing imaginable. Can they stay off the loser board and not have to see a bad movie? Or will it be their time to lose this week? The answer to these questions and more on Game for a Movie.
Yeah, that's the sound of another Game for a Movie starting.
Yeah.
It is MCU edition.
Whoa.
Jeez. All right, let me turn the volume down a little bit.
Are you hearing the music? Are
What
your
is
ears
that?
okay?
That's dude. I nailed it. Right,
buddy.
Oh,
Buddy.
I nailed that.
I love your
buddy.
enthusiasm.
We are going to go over all 22 MCU movies, the Infinity Saga, as it were.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. We're going to break it into 3 parts. By the way, I'm your host, Mike Butek. I am joined by...
Mitchell Clements.
And Andre Bellinger. We're using our full names now.
We are using our full names now.
Yeah.
It did catch me off
It
guard.
threw me off. I was like,
because you've always been Mitchell, you've always been Andre. I've said my name every time.
It's
Right.
true.
And then we have T-Dog's missing, obviously. So
Well, T-Dog is his full name. Not everyone knows that.
Well,
but
so the
full
reason
disclosure,
the
that's
reason
full
T
name.
Dog isn't here is because he didn't sign the event. Was it the Sokovia
The Accord.
Accord?
He
Yeah,
didn't-
so
he
he
didn't-
can't.
yeah.
He's unwilling to reveal his secret identity. And
you know, good old
it's
Civil
just-
War,
yes.
Andre versus T-Dog.
Yeah, right.
You know what, man? I'm Team Iron Man the entire time, so Andre, I have to be under your team. So yes,
Sick.
You got it. You
All
got
right.
it. You have my axe. I don't know what I'd fight with, but you have it.
I'm sure it'd be an X. I'm sure it'd be something badass.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, I
Team
have it
T-Dog.
for you.
Woof.
You're
Wow.
Team T-Dog. Well, you have to because
Yeah,
then
we
it's
had to
unfair.
have. We have 4 of us. We have to split.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, like it's like nonchalant. It's when Black Widow and Hawkeye were fighting in
we're still friends?
Civil War. Like we're still friends, right?
It's funny. They have another fight scene later on in their relationship.
They do have another fight scene later on in their relationship, but we'll get to that. There will be Endgame spoilers. We're going to hold it until the end, so you can listen to the MCU talk, you can understand where our placement is, and then you can get spoiled if you haven't seen the movie yet. Fair?
Fair.
Fair.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to split this into 3 parts. The first part is movie 22 on your list to 15. You're just going to read your list. We'll talk about that section in a little bit.
Okay.
Then 14 to 8, and finally 7 to 1.
Cool.
Okay?
All right.
So, we will start off. I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're going from the bottom up, right?
I am going from the bottom up.
All right.
With movie 22, I included the 2 I have not really seen.
Okay.
I kind of have seen
Yeah.
it, but bits and pieces. But the 2, and I don't think there's really going to be much argument on this, the 2 at the bottom are Thor the Dark World and Incredible Hulk, 22 and 21.
Check and check for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I was just going to say they're interchangeable probably, but...
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just a bigger fan of the Hulk than I am of Thor, at least that version of Thor.
That's fair.
So, that's me.
That's very fair. Number 20, I have Iron Man 3.
Okay.
19, Thor. 18, Iron Man 2. 17, Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Okay.
16, Captain America, the First Avenger.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
And then 15, Ant-Man.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
For me, at least, because I am going to defend Iron Man 3 in my next section.
Sure.
But
Okay.
for First Avenger, now, obviously,
Yeah.
it's the weakest, in my opinion,
Of the Captain Americas.
Of the Captain America movies, and that's including Avengers 2.5, which was, of course,
Yeah.
Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Of course, I agree with that.
on a rewatch, I'll say this, and especially with Endgame in mind, and that's the thing.
Yes.
That kind of changes
Yeah.
your relationship with some of these movies because
Absolutely.
of how Endgame incorporates different characters and their stories going way back
Fair.
to their first films. So I look back on it much more fondly, and I thought it was such a genuine way of showing the character of Captain America. I thought it was a great character setting in general. And Chris Evans bursting onto the scene when we've already seen established guys like Robert Downey Jr. and then Chris Hemsworth and Thor, who I thought both were well cast. He absolutely blew me away. Okay. So it really probably just more so for the performance of him, and then it being set in World War II, which I'm a sucker for when it comes to movies. So I rank it a little bit higher, though obviously not anywhere in my top 10. Yeah. But I really appreciate that movie, probably more than most.
So my list is very much on rewatchability.
Okay.
And if I'm sitting down to watch a Marvel movie, I'm not watching First Avenger. That's the only reason I think it's that low. It's a long movie. It's drawn out. It's just one of those things where I just don't want to watch it again. You know, that's really it. And so that's why it's so low on my list. Yeah. It's not that I'm saying it's a bad movie. I don't think really any of these are horrible movies.
Yeah.
Thor: The Dark World, maybe. Incredible Hulk, maybe. Like I said, I haven't really seen them. I've just seen bits and pieces and haven't been excited to go back and watch it.
Right.
So, but maybe those are. But everything else from like 20 on, Iron Man 3 was my 20. Like, I would watch Iron Man 3 again. I would watch Captain America: First Avenger again. But compared to these other movies, I'm not hooting and hollering going, I need to watch Captain America: First Avenger again.
That's a good point, because when it comes to these movies, Kevin Feige, Marvel, and now Disney, they make these on the hope that you're going to rewatch it in a theater, right? That's where they're going to cash in their money. So rewatchability absolutely has to be a part of the equation.
Oh, sure.
When you look at these movies.
Yeah. I would say that I'm kind of with Mitchell on this one, in that when I first saw it in the theaters, I wasn't super hot. It was fine, but it's gotten better with age for me. You know, like with each rewatch, just the way it fits. Not even just with Endgame, but also I thought, like, I rewatched like all the Captain America movies in a row after Civil War, and I thought that 3-movie arc is really strong, and that's a huge part of it. So.
It is my strongest 3-movie arc by far, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Yeah,
because Thor 2 or 3 ain't bad.
Yeah,
and like Thor 1 is. You know,
it's like they're totally different trilogies, but I do kind of look at the first Avenger similar to how I look at Batman Begins, and that like it's not my favorite of those 3 by far, but they got a lot right on the first try, and I like more than it usually gets credit for, I think. But yeah, so
that's fair. That's just the way it fell on my list, just based on watchability.
Cool.
Mitchell?
Yeah, so no surprises down here. Dark World's 22, Incredible Hulk 21, Iron Man 2, I have at 20, and then Thor at 19, Age of Ultron 18, Captain Marvel at 17.
Yep.
Wow.
It dropped a lot farther down the list than I'd expected so early.
Definitely.
Ant-Man and the Wasp at 16, though a very fun movie. And number 15, Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a very so-so movie.
Yeah.
The one redeeming thing, I do like Benedict Cumberbatch's performance. It's fine. It reminded me a lot of House. Like how
it was like, to me, it was just, it felt like Iron Man 1, except that the main character was House. You know, like that's kind of what it felt like to me.
And Robert Downey Jr. from a charisma standpoint just blows Benedict out of the water in that kind of role.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And then I will say this, some love for Doctor Strange. The battle sequence, or the big bad at the end, Numanu? Is that his name? Dormammu. So anyway, Dormammu. Great. So that's why it's at 15. But I will say this, a lot of these...
Dormammu. Got it.
Dormammu. A lot of these Marvel movies kind of fall into the same trope of, like, it's your equal. It's like the evil version of Iron Man is like your first big villain.
Yeah.
This was a creative way of having a battle. It wasn't punching. It wasn't blasting.
It was actually outsmarting the villain.
It was outsmarting the villain. Yep. And I absolutely love that. So I give it a little credit for it.
When I saw it in theaters, I really disliked that. Really dislike that, and it's grown on me since. Because I do agree, it's not punches, it's not... It didn't even rely really that much on, like, the Doctor Strange magic, that kind of thing.
Right.
Besides the Time Stone, obviously.
Which is a huge part of what he does.
Right? Exactly, which is... But besides that, it really was, hey, I figured it out. If we're fighting for eternity, you can't hurt Earth. And, like, that was... Okay, it took me until, like, that second, third watch where I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of...
It's a creative way to beat a villain.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like, teleporting him to another dimension.
Right, exactly.
So.
Yeah. And it wasn't just like, oh, all of a sudden I found this magical power or this new strength or anything like that.
No, it was a natural part of the story, right?
Right.
He had mastered the time stone.
Yeah.
He understood how to use it, and he used it in a pretty inventive way, at least to the audience, and definitely to him at the moment.
Yeah.
So, very cool with that. So, any questions with that, guys? With what I had?
Well,
I don't know. Seemed pretty.
I'm gonna say Captain Marvel seems
Yeah.
a little low.
Oh, I'm
for what
with
I
the agreement on
expected.
him.
Yeah. So, this is definitely a thing where me and Andre saw it together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was immediately lukewarm. Like, it was good, not great.
Yep.
Okay.
It was middle of the road Marvel for me.
Wow.
And I thought it would have been closer to 14 than 17.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is I'm not surprised that it's in the middle.
Right.
I'm surprised low middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I'm looking at the movies ahead of it, and I won't spoil, if you want to call it a spoiler, of who's in my next section.
Right.
But for Doctor Strange, there was that third act, and I love the visuals and the learning stuff with the Elder.
That was
and-
cool with the visuals. And
Yeah,
everything.
so there was a lot I liked there, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, especially following Infinity War, was just a breath of fresh air. We're like, okay, let's just have fun for 2
Yeah.
hours.
Sure. Yeah, I can
and
see that.
Paul Rudd is an American treasure. So
Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd.
I love
Yeah.
Paul Rudd. So just immediately looking at those two, I'm like, Captain Marvel just didn't do it for me. Even though there was a lot to like, there's a lot to pick apart as well. A lot of
Definitely.
the music choices were really on the nose.
Yeah.
The stuff that happened in space, which by the way they open with, is pretty unengaging in my opinion. A lot of the best stuff was on Earth. So
I also
I just-
don't like how they revealed the plot, or like they never really explained her backstory. It's just she pieced it together kind of because she saw it all.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that was like...
And I will give them credit for doing a kind of backwards origin story where it's the hero discovering that she is the hero.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she's discovering her own backstory. It's not her living through it as it's happening.
Sure.
So I give them a little credit for trying that, though I don't think it landed for me.
Not really. Yeah. I just felt like her character. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it was inconsistent, but like sometimes she was snarky, sometimes she was like kind of a fish out of water. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like where, like I don't know. She seemed at times well adjusted to Earth culture, and other times that she was just totally foreign. If that makes sense. So like, are they going for a Thor thing? Are they going for an Iron Man thing?
There were 2 directors on this project, and
okay.
that could be an inconsistency in directorial vision
Okay.
of what this character and this movie should be.
Sure.
That's fair.
And I will say this, and this is not a knock on specifically Captain Marvel, because I think Marvel as a whole has an issue with this.
Sure.
When you get to the CGI fights, man, are they boring.
Yeah,
In my
definitely.
opinion.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a lot of CGI fights
Yeah,
in
there
Captain
was.
Marvel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we're picking nits here, and this is what we're doing, we're making a list. Captain Marvel takes a couple hits from me because of those things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Andre?
So I ran on my bottom.
Yep.
This is with the caveat that I have not seen either Ant-Man, so don't really bear their ranking in mind. I haven't seen them yet,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I plan on it.
I still can't believe you haven't seen either Ant-Man.
I don't know. Yeah,
That's fine.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're-
enjoyable
I
movies.
mean,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
understood there's movies that
Especially after watching Endgame, I want to watch more Ant-Man.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. Anyways, so number 22, Incredible Hulk. Number 21, Thor: Dark World. 20 is Iron Man 2. 19, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then 18 is Doctor Strange. 17, Ant-Man. And then 16, Captain Marvel. And then 15 is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay, I was going to say
I-
Avengers.
You
Done.
took a really weird pause there.
I
Yeah.
just make sure you pay attention.
Like, whoa.
Avengers, done. I hate that movie.
So I have a question for both of you,
yeah.
just because it's based on going on my list too. I had Iron Man 3 as worse than Iron Man 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually going to follow up on that.
Yeah. So why do you guys have Iron Man 2 worse than Iron Man 3?
Because I feel like Iron Man 3 actually is a story about Iron Man, and Iron Man 2 almost feels like a setup for the Avengers. Like I feel like Iron Man 2 was the first movie where they're like, oh man, like they have so much other stuff going on. And Age of Ultron also fell into this too,
Okay.
where they're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Age of
Oh,
Ultron
that's a good way.
was a
Yeah.
sequel.
Yeah.
Like it set up so Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like all of this stuff, like the whole entire middle section of that movie where where Tony Stark is trying to figure out how to create a new element, like none of that was really
Yeah.
all that great. That didn't really do much for me, you know? Yeah, and then, I don't know, the villain fell flat for me too. I don't know. Very lukewarm on it.
Yeah, for me, and you're going to notice this as the list goes on, and I will point this out. I could name the director for each and every one of these movies in my top 10.
Yeah.
So I will say this. I don't know who directed Iron Man 2. But Iron Man 3 was directed by Shane Black,
Yep.
famous for lots of things like Lethal Weapon,
Yep.
The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell
Great
Crowe,
movie.
which I absolutely love.
Great movie.
He definitely has a vision, and he definitely reuses a lot of themes in his movies. And I felt like for Marvel, this was one of the first times that they allowed a director with a really distinct style to have fun with the character.
Yeah.
This was set during Christmas, which is a very Shane Black thing.
Yeah.
This is a very introspective story because we have Tony basically on his own. Pepper's not in it really until the very end.
Right.
This is him kind of discovering not only the flaws that he has in relying on being Iron Man, which is a lesson he carries forward in Homecoming and the future Avengers movies and stuff. But it's also something where he realizes that he could also be a better person, which again leads into Homecoming and the relationship he has with Peter Parker. For sure, he can look back on the relationship he had with the kid in, where he crash lands in Iron Man 3. So I think from a character standpoint, I thought Iron Man 3 did a lot of great things. It dealt with the quote-unquote PTSD, if you want to call it something that serious, with the events of Avengers.
Yeah.
which was a big part of it.
It was honestly. I need to watch it again because it's been such a long time. But I remember feeling pretty surface level, where like, oh man, like he's received brief flashes of the Avengers, like the actual fight scenes from Avengers, and like that's I don't know, like they don't go deeper than that, you know?
Right.
And I feel like PTSD can be like a topic that you can really delve into.
Yeah.
See, that's part of my problem with Iron Man 3 and why I have it low.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Iron Man 2 was Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I was just
Was it
about
still
to follow-
Favreau?
It's still
Still
Favreau.
Favreau.
Oh, that
yeah.
sucks.
And that's
So,
why he
I wonder-
did Chef afterwards, because he felt the pressure of all these studios making him do what they wanted him to
okay.
do. And so he
Interesting.
made Chef because he was like, all right, I'm doing this on my own.
Yeah.
Where I have
That's
no one
definitely
telling me
his
what
That
to
did
do.
not feel like a John Favreau movie.
Right.
Right.
So
I
that's
could-
got to be a
I
lot
could-
of meddling,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so that's what I think part of it is. My problem with Iron Man 3 and why I have it lower
Yeah.
is the PTSD I thought was a great point, actually.
Sure.
Which I thought they should have driven more.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
we're in agreement there. Yeah.
Problem is, it felt like next movie it kind of dropped it.
Yes.
And it was just like,
That's
oh,
a
he's
tough
over his
continuation.
PTSD.
Yeah,
Like,
and I
okay.
mean that's
Right.
kind of like the reality of having multiple directors on this, like
Yeah.
on this train of
Right.
Marvel cinematic movies, you know. So
And then they tried for to reveal that the bad guy was a different bad guy at the end.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was a little sloppy. I
And-
give him credit, but
Fucking Ben Kingsley is the Mandarin.
He's what's wrong with
I
Ben
loved
Kingsley?
Trevor Slattery. I hated
Gotcha.
Mandarin to Trevor Slattery.
Gotcha.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what pissed me off. So that's part of the reason as well why Iron Man 3, I can't forgive it for that. I can't.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
all right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So we go to 14 through 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
14, I have Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Okay.
13, Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Okay.
12, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep.
11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
At 11. Okay.
11.
Okay.
Yep.
And then 10, Black Panther.
Okay.
Okay.
9, Iron Man.
Okay.
And 8, Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
8. Okay.
Eight.
Good.
8.
I think that's solid. To be honest, a
Yeah.
movie that just came out, you're really fighting the recency bias there. I think
Definitely.
that's a mature
Yeah,
take.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, the thing was, I didn't really like it as much as other people did that
Sure.
I've talked to.
Okay.
I thought it was good. It was a good representation. We'll jump into this, but
Yeah.
I felt it was very fan
It's gonna be
just
weird.
to give it a word.
I feel like our placements on
I
this
will
list,
argue that was its greatest strength.
Yeah.
And I've never seen fan service
It
done
can be.
so well.
It can be, but there's certain things that I want to nitpick.
I also
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to say
That's-
that I feel like
There's one scene
placing it on this
yeah.
list it was very hard for me just because it's so recent. Like I'm coming off
Yeah.
of almost less than 72 hours after watching it,
Right.
And that's a pretty emotional movie, I guess.
Yeah.
So
You guys
I
have
don't know,
any?
it could land anywhere next week. Is
Yeah,
what I'm
for
saying,
sure.
Right?
You guys have any arguments with my 14 through 8?
Black Panther being so low for me.
Oh,
because,
buddy. Uh-oh.
because I know it's in yours too.
Yep.
I will say this, and this is of course in the aftermath of having it nominated for Oscars and being nominated for Best Picture and stuff. Of course, they roll out all these stories, which may or may not be 100% true. But after the first screening of the film, Kevin Feige leaned over to Ryan Coogler and said, "You made us into a film studio, no longer just a popcorn flick."
Sure.
Which is fair.
Which is fair to say because Black Panther had a ton to say. And using superheroes in a fashion that we really haven't seen all too often before. So,
Yeah.
especially on the scale and with the budget that Marvel is willing to give. Because let's remember, this was still a Disney movie. And
For
they
sure.
pegged Ryan Coogler, who had done Fruitvale Station before. Creed was definitely dipping his toes into more,
Right.
fan stuff,
Yeah.
bigger picture.
Yeah.
I just absolutely loved. I could talk about this more once we get to the top 7.
For sure.
Yeah.
But for me, there hasn't been a more distinctly directed MCU film that I just enjoyed being in Ryan Coogler's head for the first 2 acts, because in the third act it definitely revolved
Third
back
act is
to
hard.
I think-
Third act is hard.
I think it really is just the third act for me is why I can't
It
get
does not
over
land on its feet, unlike other cats.
There were parts of the third act that were good, if not great.
Yeah.
And then there was parts of the third act where I was just like, and here we go.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
If anything, the part that I like the most about Black Panther is the conversation around it, and in
Yes.
terms of like representation in media, because that
Yes.
shit's super important. And if this starts a conversation, if this leads to more Black films like in the popular in pop culture, that's fucking awesome, and
Right.
I'm so down for that. You know, so
Let me explain. I'm all for that. I think this was great what this movie did.
But
Well, no, I mean there is a but I feel like it's a very minor but in
Sure.
comparison.
Yeah.
Just saying that it wasn't for me.
Okay.
And so that's why I think I have it. I say it so low. It's in my top 10. And
Yeah.
my top 10 I feel like could change every day
yeah, I feel like
because of how
I'm
good
gonna
these
have some
movies are.
explaining to do where in my placement, so we'll
Yeah.
wait till I get to
Yeah,
that.
but it's just one of those things. Like literally 1 through 10, I would happily watch over and over and over again.
Sure.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
great.
And
Yeah,
so-
great
I'm
films.
already in after the bottom 7. I'm already in. I will enthusiastically rewatch
Yeah,
territory. So
I'm
Yeah.
some of these yes, some of these no.
Okay.
But so that's what I'm saying about Black Panther is it wasn't for me, which is fine. Like I understand that, I accept that, I understand why people have it higher because it is a fantastic movie. It just wasn't my fantastic movie. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I got you.
Yep.
I
So
got you.
I'm not saying it other than this is my personal preference.
For sure.
So
Right. Cool. Should I go?
Yep.
Or-
all you, buddy.
14, we got Ant-Man.
Okay.
Then we go down to Iron Man 3. Captain America, the First Avenger at 12. At 11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
Number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 9, Civil War. And number 8, the original Avengers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there goes 14 through 8 for
So
Mitchie.
why do you hate Spider-Man?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I was okay. I had to look at your phone for a second because I
Yeah.
thought I heard Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Spider-Man at 10. So it's a fun movie.
Okay.
I absolutely love Tom Holland in the role. He is the best Spider-Man on screen. He is a Spider-Man that I read as a kid. And I'm absolutely enthralled that he is a part of this greater cinematic universe, and we're going to see him all over the place. And I can't wait for Far From Home. It's it was a film that had its vision set on being a modern take on a John Hughes 80s comedy.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Which I
Yes.
absolutely love. I'm into that. But, if I'm looking, this isn't a knock against it, just a knock or just comparing it to what I have in front of it. I just enjoy certain parts of story more. So I think with Homecoming, there was a lot of great moments, a lot of character building. I love Michael Keaton in the Vulture's role and how they reimagined his backstory for the MCU in particular.
Right.
Because it had really nothing to do with his comic book version.
Right.
Right.
No. And honestly, the Vulture, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and Vulture in the comics does nothing for me. But he
Well,
did.
when
I
I
really liked him in this
originally
movie, so-
heard that he was going to be the Vulture,
Yeah.
because I was like Michael Keaton, yeah, oh great,
Yeah, sure, but I was like, oh,
wait,
Vulture.
he's the Vulture,
Yeah. I
what?
felt the same exact way when they announced the Lizard for Amazing Spider-Man. I was like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
But I thought they did a
They
really
killed
good job.
the Vulture.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought, and I will say this: if we were going to break down my top 10 scenes in a Marvel movie, so this is every single scene of these 22 movies, and my top 5 is
The car
definitely
scene.
in the car scene.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they're
that's
driving
really
prom.
good.
Oh,
That
so good.
is so
Yeah.
well done, and I wish there was more of that in this movie. So, or at least scenes that reach that height of tension. So anyway, but if you're looking at what's ahead of it.
Yeah.
Civil War, we get the first impression of Tom Holland in that role.
Yeah.
But it's that dynamic between Tony and Steve Rogers that I absolutely love, and I could watch all day.
Okay.
I could do this all day.
I can do this.
This all day.
Of course, the Avengers brings me back to the time when I got a last minute ticket with my friend Jenya, and we went up to the very front of this theater, and we were
Shout out
looking
Jenya.
up. She's great. And we were looking up at the theater. My neck hurt, but man, I had such a great time.
That's awesome.
I had such a great time.
Yeah.
I'd never seen so many heroes in one film. Who
Exactly.
knew that 6 years later, Infinity War would come out.
Right,
You're right,
yeah. And it's
exactly,
kind of
yeah.
in this weird spot where I feel like a lot of
years?
it. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Like
2012 to 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, technically 2019.
Well, no, for
for
Infinity War.
Oh, Infinity
Like,
War.
yeah,
oh,
it
yeah,
was-
yeah.
it was
sorry. I heard
really
that,
be amped
yeah.
up to the next level.
Definitely. That's
Jeez.
like I feel like Infinity War and Endgame have kind of like overshadowed it a little bit, but
Yeah.
man, like it's hard to separate the original 2012 Avengers from that movie
Mm-hmm.
going experience for the first time. It's like, wow, they fucking nailed it. You
Yeah.
know, like they stuck the landing when I thought it was gonna I thought the wheels were gonna fall off the bus way before then.
Yeah.
Especially when I saw Iron Man 2. But yeah,
Fair.
I don't know. Like that remains to be probably my favorite movie going experience. Just going with all my friends, and we were just so amazed
Nice.
that it actually worked out. So.
Yeah.
So one more in defense of my Homecoming at number 10. I also have it in front of Guardians 2, which I really like. I really
okay.
like that movie.
Yeah.
So there is some credit to be had there. I just think that the MCU overall has produced better overall films, whether that's in conjunction with how it relates to the other movies surrounding it.
Sure.
I thought it was great. It's a standalone movie that had stakes that was just inside New York City and in the boroughs,
Yeah.
and it didn't really have to rely on, oh man, there's a city floating in the air. We have to
Right.
save all the
Right,
people.
yeah.
So I really like this, but like Mike was saying, it's in my top 10. It's in my top
Okay.
10, which
Right.
means a lot.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
being said,
Yeah,
that's why I have Guardians 2 so low.
right.
Is because they're fighting a fucking planet.
Yes.
Like, it was just the exact opposite
but
of...
the-
But the planet is his dad,
Understood.
though.
The
Did
issue...
you hear that sentence? Did you hear that sentence?
I
you
know,
just said?
it's great. I love it. I love it. I heard that sentence, and I'll say it again. But yeah,
Wait, say it again.
that planet is his dad, though.
Alright.
I love these fucking movies.
Yeah,
It's, it's so crazy. Like, trying to explain this to anybody that's lived under a rock since Iron Man came out.
Yeah.
Just trying to explain the entire Marvel universe
Right.
and be like, but yeah, there's this secret country in Africa that's like way above everything. You know, there's a floating city. It's great. He fought a planet that was also his father.
And then you turned into a giant Pac-Man monster and punched him.
Right, exactly.
That all happened.
Yeah, that happened. All right,
Yeah,
should I
it did.
go through my
You
maybe?
should, yes.
please.
All right, so I'm sorry. We're starting at we're starting at 14.
14
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
through 8.
All right. So 14 is Iron Man 3. 13 is Thor. 12 is Black Panther. 11 is Captain America: First Avenger. 10 is Iron Man. 9 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 8 is Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
Kaboom.
Yeah. So,
You really like Thor 1?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
compare-
actually, you know, it ended up higher on this list than I thought. I would actually probably swap Iron Man 3 and Thor.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still one spot. Like,
It is.
it's-
Yeah.
I got Thor at 19. So.
Yeah, I don't
I've
know.
got Thor at 19 as
It
well.
kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that because this is just,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't
know
think
what
it's-
to defend, but yeah.
Well, I'm saying this with it being 19 on my list, but I don't think it's an awful movie.
No, it's not,
No,
but,
I
like-
enjoyed it when I watched it.
I think I have a lot of reverence for those Phase 1 films. Like,
Gotcha.
just straight up nostalgia at this point, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think it was Iron Man. Did Iron Man 2 come out and then it was Thor? Or was it Thor then Iron Man 2?
It was it went Iron Man, Incredible Hulk. I'm pretty sure Iron Man 2 then Thor.
I thought
Yeah.
so too.
Yeah,
I'm
we
kind of
can look
shocked
this
that,
up.
honestly, like, looking at this list, I am, like, again, I could probably put it lower. I don't really have too many words to defend it. Thought Chris Hemsworth was great for, like, to start off, but, I mean, and Loki's fun too, but that, I mean, still has all the same problems of a Phase 1 movie in that, like, the finale is just a generic CGI fight. The Asgard set doesn't really do much for me, you know, so.
Right.
Right.
It's very over the top. It's CG to death.
Yeah.
They bleached Chris Hemsworth eyebrows to be blonde. Which
That was weird.
so
You're right.
Weird.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
hindsight, it's definitely weirder. In the
For
moment,
sure.
you kind of buy it.
It did
Yeah.
come out after Iron Man 2, by the way.
Okay. So maybe
And
I
then
ended
Captain
up
America.
liking it
Yeah.
more because, like, I was like, oh god, it's not Iron Man 2, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Which is fair.
It could totally be lower, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know why it's so high, but whatever.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my mid-tier.
All right.
Should
What was
I-
number 8 again?
Number 8 was Captain America: Civil War.
Okay, cool. I
Yeah.
had that at 9. So
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird because I have it in a much different spot, but
Are we in the end game now?
we're in the end
in
game
Endgame.
now.
Oh.
So 7-1.
Oh boy.
Drum roll. All right, that was enough. My 7 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay.
6, the Avengers, the original.
Great.
5, Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
4, Captain America Civil War.
Yep.
Okay.
3, Captain America Winter Soldier.
Ooh.
Okay.
Very nice.
Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. And we wrap it up with Infinity War.
Okay. All right.
I absolutely loved Infinity War.
I love your
absolutely.
I love your top 5.
Oh yeah,
in that
it's one of those things. Now that being said, the funny thing is, some days I feel like Thor Ragnarok and Civil War could switch spots.
Yeah,
like
they're
5
so
and 4.
different.
Yeah,
they're
so
so different, but at the
Yeah.
same time they're just so well done. And then
They are.
I love Taika Waititi.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
absolutely
dude.
love him.
Yes.
Yeah. Civil War, the reason I say it could switch is just because when you look at whatever his name's plot, what's his name? Helmut Zemo, is that it?
Zemo.
Yeah.
Zemo. Yeah.
When you look at his plot, it's really like thin.
Yeah. No, the villain is not the why. Yeah.
Exactly.
he's
And
not
like
good,
like
it's
if
fine.
you look at his plan,
Yeah.
it relied on so many things
It
to
does
happen at the
yes.
right time.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like the more you think about Civil War, the more dumb it becomes a little
Exactly.
bit. To me, it just has some great character interactions, though, right?
And that's
So-
exactly it. That's the first spot where I saw it, and then it was nailed in Infinity War.
Right.
What I think Infinity War does so well is the team ups. Who's on the same team, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
When
definitely.
we had Groot and Rocket and Thor, that was probably my favorite team because it was just they were like I didn't like what they did,
Right.
But I just liked their team. Like
Sure.
where he's just like calling him Rabbit. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No,
you
he
know?
mixed well. Like they figured out good chemistry with different groups.
Exactly,
For sure.
and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
So
I would say like one of the reasons I like Civil War a lot is that I actually think I feel like T'Challa has like a more defined character arc in that movie than he does in
do
his
too.
own movie.
Yeah.
Almost. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of why I like
So-
because that was such a great debut for that character, and
Right.
he goes through a lot. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it kind of almost. I think he might be my favorite character in that film. I don't know.
it's pretty solid because like his goal is revenge.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
he also just happens to grow along the way too.
Right.
Like not just happens, but it's one of those things where you see him grow. You see him understand, hey, Bucky was brainwashed. This is not him. Maybe we can help him. Maybe
Yeah.
we can, get some answers, that kind of stuff. And so it's not all revenge, revenge, revenge. I'm going to kill you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He does it for these reasons. And like you see those reasons.
And maybe that's why I didn't connect with Black Panther as much because I feel like I feel like his character arc was already like he didn't really move. Like T'Challa's character arc didn't really move that much. You know what I mean? Where the more interesting character arc was Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just just a
Right.
comment, I guess. So
No,
but yeah.
that's totally fair. All right.
So I got Iron Man at 7,
Okay.
Endgame at 6, Thor
Okay.
Ragnarok at 5,
Yep.
Winter Soldier at 4,
Okay.
Guardians 1 at 3, The Black Panther at 2,
Okay.
and Infinity War number 1.
you go.
Wow.
All right.
So it's one of those things. I love Taika Waititi. Of course, Ragnarok was going to be in my top 5. There was no question about it. Winter Soldier was the first time I saw a Marvel movie and I saw action scenes that I genuinely loved.
Oh, I love
the
them.
elevator
Yes.
fight
Yeah.
scene
Yes.
alone.
So
Yeah.
good.
And I thought they were going to bring it back for Endgame. There was a
Yeah,
kind of
there
a
was-
moment where they
there was a
teased
moment,
it.
and that was really good. That was a good moment. We'll get to it later. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's no, it's no coincidence that the directors of Endgame and Winter Soldier were the same.
Right.
Yes.
They shot that the same. I think they were teasing at it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, we talked about Black Panther. And then Guardians, in terms of a film that showed that the MCU could be much broader
Right.
than the characters that we all, or at least the comic people, knew and loved.
Mm-hmm.
These are characters that even the most hardcore fans would have trouble naming.
Right.
And these are guys that they made you fall in love with. Well cast with Chris Pratt as the lead, and then really just
Who
going
came
out
out of
there.
nowhere too.
Yeah,
Out of
right.
nowhere. Like
Because
he,
Suddenly-
he was the fat guy.
Yeah, he was
on
the
Parks and
tubby.
Rec.
He was the-
exactly.
yeah,
he was
Tommy
Andy.
Parks- yeah,
He was
exactly.
Andy on
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, and then he did that one. He was a part of Zero Dark 30 as
He was.
one
Yeah.
of the
He got hot
yeah.
for Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, I
as
forgot
the
about that.
Navy
Yeah.
SEALs to show that he could actually be an action star. But damn, he's so damn charming.
He
Like,
is. Yeah.
I feel like that's a commonality of any of these guys moving forward. Chris Hemsworth. Very charming story, especially with what they did in Ragnarok.
Yes,
when they
for
really
sure.
they-
They
yeah.
totally
character.
fixed his character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what these movies are really going to live and die on.
So going back to your conversation before about scenes,
Right.
the scene with "Come and Get Your Love, Redbone" from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That is legitimately one of my favorite scenes ever.
Yes.
Not just in Marvel movies, like ever.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it was such a good intro to a character as well as what this movie is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, it ends when he leaves that planet, but that whole scene as a whole is like, that's what I love.
Yeah, that's opening credits. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's so well done.
Oh, yeah,
it is so
that has
good.
James Gunn written all over, and I'm happy he's back for number 3.
Yeah,
Obviously,
for sure.
they tried it again in Volume 2, and I liked it in Volume 2, too.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't the same.
And
as
that was the thing about Volume 2,
Yeah.
which is why I was so down, just because it's a little rehash of
Yeah.
Volume 1. They
is.
were playing the hits,
They
which
were
isn't
playing
terrible.
the hits, but on a rewatch, it almost I kind of came to terms with it a little bit more about it being its own movie because I feel like it hits different character notes almost, you know?
It does, it explores Drax a lot more.
Yes.
With
It's a freaking sad movie.
It
you know?
can
Yeah,
be.
it is.
Oh god, with the relationship with Kurt Russell or his dad, yeah,
Yep.
like that was heartbreaking, and what he found out about his mother, like
Yeah. Well, and then also there's like Yondu's entire story arc there too.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
So
Yondu as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
Yondu.
had one of the best action scenes in that movie.
that was
With-
sweet.
And
Yep.
Is anybody looking at Mary Poppins the same anymore?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely not.
Not my Mary Poppins.
And then one last thing about Black Panther before I'll like expand on our Infinity War. My favorite Marvel scene ever is in the ancestral plane. Andre, we already talked about this. In the ancestral plane when Killmonger goes.
Yeah.
And he goes to the apartment in Oakland, and Sterling Brown, his father, is there. And they sit down and they talk, and it cuts back and forth. You could see emotions coming up in Michael B. Jordan's face, which is a great performance. They cut back to Sterling K. Brown, and suddenly you go back to Killmonger, and he's a kid again. And I think that says everything about what his mission was. It was so rooted in everything that he believed in as a child,
Yeah.
but now fully realized as an MIT-educated killing machine.
Right.
You know, so it definitely stripped it down in terms of what was the root of everything, because he could say this is about equipping Black people around the world with the ability to, you know, build up their own communities and not rely on handouts and things like that, which is great. But at the end of the day, this was personal. This
Right.
whole journey was personal for him. And that's when I realized, holy crap, Marvel could actually say things.
And I do love that because, like, even though he lost in the end,
Yeah. He'll be back.
who knows? Maybe he will, but no. But even though he lost in the end, like the scene where they go to Oakland after,
Yeah.
and they like start this science center and everything like that.
Yeah.
That was another thing where I was just like, he still kind of won.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't the personal vendetta,
Right.
Sure.
it was part of his mission.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now they understand that they can expand more.
Yes, and I think that was T'Challa's journey. It was his relationship with Killmonger that changed it. Because you could also say Lupita Nyong'o's character had the same thoughts, but just in a less vicious way of going about bringing that change.
Sure.
So Infinity War. The reason why I freaking love this movie so much, and partially why I liked Killmonger in Black Panther, was how the villain was handled.
Yes. No,
Yes.
Thanos is the protagonist of that movie.
Absolutely. That movie goes in two different directions. It's either Thor winning or it's Thanos winning. It starts in that scene on the ship with the Asgardians. And so it sets the tone, like who is going to fight who at the end.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they are setting that scene. And Thor saying you're going to pay for that. All that stuff that you had seen in a million movies before. But what I've never seen is a performance, a motion capture performance, probably outside of Andy Serkis, where I really fell for the character and completely forgot he was a 10-foot tall purple monster.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and I legitimately
You're fighting
fell for it.
Grimace?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, and he
Yeah.
had like a weird ball sack of a chin, and
Yeah.
I still bought into that performance because
sure.
it was so well constructed in terms of what he was fighting for, to build up the relationship with him and Gamora, to show that the sacrifice he made to get the Soul Stone actually meant something to him, even though it was deranged by
Yeah.
our standards.
Oh, for
it
sure.
meant something for him, and
Right.
we understood that.
Oh,
And then
we totally felt that. Like
we felt that.
Yeah.
We absolutely
Yeah.
felt that. And then at the very, very end, they did not pull the punches, right? This guy got his Infinity Stones. Thor got cocky at the end. He wanted revenge more so than he wanted to win. He
Right.
wanted to see Thanos lose and squirm.
Yeah.
And it was because of that the Avengers lost.
Yep.
So that snap and how they delivered on the promise from the very beginning
Yeah.
I was completely taken away by that.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen a movie where with so many different characters move so seamlessly
Yeah.
There was never a point where it dragged. I had funny moments. There was definitely some heavy emotional moments. I saw this movie in theaters, I think 4 times.
Dang.
Okay.
All 4 times, I heard audible sniffling and crying when
Yeah.
Spider-Man dies.
Right.
Yeah,
And
dude.
this shows like
Fuck.
that is the peak of these movies.
Dude,
Like,
I still well up knowing it's coming. Like,
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's one of those scenes that was so perfect, and it's part of the acting, but it's also part of just no.
Right.
Yes.
I wish I could bottle up that feeling and have it in a vacuum without knowing that he had a sequel already confirmed for 2 years, like a
Right.
year
Right.
later. You know, because I was like, as soon as the credits rolled, I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
right. He's gonna be in a fucking.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in Far From Home. So, but whatever.
But
Yeah,
you had that-
You can't escape
And the best part is, guys, that movie is building out the stuff that was already established in the previous films. So Spider-Man, for example, we love that so much because not only is he dying, if he died alone, it would not have been as effective. But
No.
he died in Iron Man's arms.
Yes, right.
And you get that father-son relationship
Yep.
between
Right.
those two in
Yep.
Homecoming.
Plus knowing like his spider sense was going, he knew he was dying.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
he
There's a
knew
lot.
he was going away.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and Tony being helpless, like he
Yeah.
couldn't help the kid. And there's so many great moments like that in the film. Absolutely loved it, and I'm so happy that Endgame, I thought, delivered on the strong ending as well.
For sure, yeah. All right, I'm looking at this top 7, and honestly, these are so close to me that they could be in any order. To be honest with
That's
you,
how it feels with all
yeah.
of these.
So,
It's-
with that said, I'm going to go with Captain America: The Winter Soldier at number 7.
Okay.
Avengers: Endgame at 6.
Okay.
Thor: Ragnarok at 5. Spider-Man: Homecoming at 4. The Avengers at 3. Infinity War at 2. Guardians of the Galaxy at 1.
Okay,
Those top
okay.
3 specifically,
Any
you can
order,
shuffle.
yeah.
To
Say
be honest
those
with you.
top 3 again.
The Avengers for
Yep.
3. Infinity War.
Okay.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Avengers, you have it the highest of all of us. Is it
Yes.
that still nostalgia, or is it just-
Absolutely, yeah. I can't. If I were to say, like, it is just all the moving on experience. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, nothing is going to top that first Avengers for me. That's the first ensemble hero movie that I saw that it worked. You know,
Yeah.
they nailed everything almost. Yeah, I mean, it's a Joss Whedon ass movie. You know, the dialogue is quippy, it's corny. It kind of codified that for the MCU
Yeah.
Yes.
to the point where it got like kind of memed to death. That they had to shift focus. I'm glad the Russo brothers kind of went in a semi-different,
Right.
somewhat different direction. But yeah, I don't know, that first movie hit really, like, that just was the perfect movie at the perfect time.
Absolutely.
You guys make me want to watch Marvel movies like right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just a huge inflection point for the series,
Okay.
almost as much as Endgame was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't really place it any lower.
Okay, I can't remember where you had it. Winter Soldier, you had, I think, lower than everybody.
7. Yeah.
I had it at 4. Yep.
4.
Yeah, that's just because, again, it's just because I like my personal slant. I like those top 6 movies just a little bit more.
Which is fair.
They just cater to my taste a little bit more.
That's the thing. Like, I'm sitting here going, my top 10, like, I could interchange any of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's literally from 10 to 11 was a huge drop off for me.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, the Winter Soldier's great, and to
Yeah.
Mitchell's point, it doesn't fall into the CGI,
Right.
fuckfest fight scenes,
Yeah.
well choreographed, and it's like a cool, fun spy thriller with a superhero
Right.
story. And yeah, I
That
don't know.
is a good part of Winter Soldier for me. Exactly right on that. Like, it's not as CGI because these two are very close combat
Yes,
battlers.
right,
yes,
You know,
yeah,
and that's
yes.
You can
what
have some
works
actual
with
fight
this.
choreography when you don't
Right.
have laser beam superpowers,
Right.
right? So-
Iron Man's not firing a blaster
Exactly.
at him.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
and like even though that can work, we've seen
totally
it work.
can, dude.
Yeah, we've
Infinity
seen it
War was
work.
great.
But it's one of those things where like this one felt close, personal, and then
Yep.
you put in top. Oh, it's Bucky too,
Dude,
Holy
also,
hell!
Also,
Right.
shout out to the Winter Soldier's theme. That
Yeah.
that theme, like that industrial sound, was just really,
Yeah.
I don't know, that really took me into those
Nice.
fight scenes for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Dug it.
Well, do you guys want to go through the process off off mic and put all of our lists together, or do
Battle
you think
it out?
do you think it's good? We'll just post our own lists.
Yeah, I think
Well, I mean, we could do a composite.
We could do a composite.
There's an easy way to score it. Like basically, the if we go 1 through 22,
Mm-hmm.
like one obviously being the highest, like golf, the lowest score has the
Okay.
the
For
higher
sure.
up on the
Yeah.
list.
That's fair.
I would feel bad because I feel like some movies on my list would be inflated just because it's personal slant. Where I
Nothing
wouldn't-
wrong with that.
That's-
That's what it comes
guess
down
These
to.
so.
are humans making these lists, man.
Yeah.
So I guess
All right.
so.
Well,
All right.
we might have a composite list. We might have our own lists. Who knows? We'll figure that out off mic. On now, this is your last chance.
Yes.
Spoilers.
Yep.
we are in the Endgame now.
Oh,
The Endgame.
oh, God.
Oh shit.
We are going to talk Avengers Endgame.
All right.
Yes?
Yes.
All right.
The culmination of the Infinity Saga.
Tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So just last warning. This
gonna
is
need
your
another
last,
beer for
last
this.
Yeah.
chance.
Okay, give me another beer.
There's beer coming, which means spoilers.
Yes.
Mike, you good?
I will have another as well, please and thank
What are
you.
you having another of, Mike?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I forgot to whore myself today. We are having Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy.
Oh, so
a
refreshing.
personal favorite.
It tastes like happiness.
Tastes like summer.
Dude, having gone to a Liney brewery, like, I absolutely love this. Because
Yeah.
it's like a wood cabin in the middle of nowhere. It's in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, we ended up going. This is not personal, this is definitely personal. But we ended up going when we were going to Minnesota TCU. They played in football, and so we drove up, went to Chippewa Falls. It was great. Yeah, so Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy.
Nice. You know what else this beer tastes like?
What does it taste
Endgame
like?
spoilers.
Tastes like
Let's
Endgame.
fucking go.
Here we go. Woo.
Iron Man, oh, God.
Oh, why?
I am Iron.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts about Endgame?
I would be really fucking dank if they never made another MCU after the MCU movie after this. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, Spider-Man comes out in 2 months. These movies
Yeah.
make money. They're always going to make more. But honestly, you could cut off the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point, and I would be satisfied.
Yeah. I thought the send-offs for Iron Man and for Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought were very well done.
Great. Yeah.
And that is a clear sign we are on to another phase.
Yeah.
Like, we have the younger heroes.
Like, more than just
Yeah.
not. This isn't just Phase 4. This is a
Oh, yeah.
different thing.
This
This
is
is
gonna,
completely different.
This will be complete. Like, Thor might be part of the Guardians now. I mean, like...
as Guardians
As
of the
Guardians
Galaxy.
of the Galaxy.
The Last Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I would actually love that as a title for part 3. That was actually
I would love that, too.
Yeah.
But... anyway.
trying to figure out how to convince Gamora to come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a I mean they definitely left some, loose ends for the other characters to tie up. But in terms of Iron Man and his storyline, and then of course Captain America, who I thought had the best and most fitting ending. Because of all the stuff that he had gone through, being
Yes.
stuck in the ice and going through what he did in Winter Soldier to find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. was always Hydra and all that other stuff.
yeah.
And putting his life on the line time and time again, and he got to live a life.
Yeah, he
got to live
finally
his
did
life.
something for himself,
He
which
did,
I
yeah.
loved. I loved that it was his. Like I was worried when they introduced the time travel mechanic that like Steve I thought it was Steve gonna be making the sacrifice play where it's like. We don't have enough Pym particles to go back. I'm staying here. I was worried.
I thought he was
going
going
to
to stay in the 70s.
Yes, exactly.
Like with Agent Carter and everything
Yep.
like that.
Yep. Yeah.
My whole thing was, and this was such a well thought out part of the plot, was Tony and Steve were always at odds with each other. And this is the same thing in the comic books. They're just polar opposites when it comes to personalities, but they're both natural leaders. So the thing that they brought to the table that was different, Tony a little bit more cocksure and selfish, where Cap was definitely he's the guy who dives on the grenade.
Right.
Yeah.
As we saw in First Avenger. So what both endings for the characters shown me is that they learned something from the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Man sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
He dies, guys. He snaps
Rip.
everything. He snaps away all.
Turns out he was
Thanos.
Iron Man this whole time. Snaps his fingers.
Exactly.
dies.
What a great ending.
That was so
What a great last line to say. And then for Captain America, he did something, on the selfish side.
Yeah.
And decided to live a life. A very full life, I'm sure.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah, it seemed like it.
It
Yeah.
seemed like it. Yeah, he came back as Joe Biden.
Yeah, but to say he looked a lot like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
well.
he did. Now thinking about that, yeah, he's going to be president. All right.
Yeah.
So there's
baby?
in the Me Too movie, I'm not so sure about Joe Biden.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Sorry, I jumped ahead, I guess. I don't know.
We'll see. So with that being said, I absolutely love the ending. You could definitely call this fan service the movie, and I think
Yeah.
that's completely appropriate. But I'm not complaining.
No, definitely not. I don't think it's definitely fan servicey, but in all the right ways, right?
Let's hear it, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, I had
lay
some
it on
problems
us.
with some fan service
For
stuff.
sure.
I got some notes.
Yeah,
I have some notes for improvement for next time for Endgame 2.
In game 2, I think, yeah. No, I liked some of the stuff. So, when I originally heard time travel, I was very skeptical.
Sure.
Just because, it's time travel,
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that they spent a lot of it going over their rules. It was not that they had rules, it was just like, oh yeah, we can't do this because we create this timeline and this happens and this blah blah blah. You have to come back, otherwise there's this or whatever.
Sure.
So part of that is Captain Rogers being on that park bench and not coming back.
Right.
He's
Yes.
started a whole new timeline too.
Right, he branched off. Yeah,
He branched off
There's
into a
some,
timeline.
there's some like, and I think like one of the Russo brothers was asked that in an interview, and
Yeah.
he kind of, I don't want to say he gave a political answer or whatever, but he was like, oh yeah, like we left some of those open questions for the audience to figure out, which is like kind of a cop out
Oh,
answer.
that's
totally
absolutely
cop-out.
cop-out answer.
So,
I would
but-
say with that, it's look, sometimes with these movies, it's the MCU.
Yeah.
I like to turn my brain off.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will say
Oh, yeah.
there was a lot. My gripes in this movie, and there are some,
Yeah.
are in the first two acts, and part
Yeah.
of that is how they explain time travel. Because holy crap, it's time travel. Like
Right.
there's a million ways to explain it, and they're all wrong. I
Right.
mean, it's
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just, that is the corner that you're riding yourself in if you're introducing this element.
I did like how at least they acknowledged that was a little derivative by bringing it back to the future too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that was like, okay, you guys get it, like you're in on it, I guess.
Yeah,
But like,
like,
that to me, that was a Russo brothers.
Don't
Like, we
gamble
get
on
it.
sports, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I get it, but that was for me. The time travel was hard to get around.
Okay.
That being said, what they did with the time travel was great because they just like recreated scenes from Avengers and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm glad they weren't too worried. Like, oh, I was worried they'd be like, oh, Cap, you can't fight yourself. It's gonna create a time paradox.
Right.
Blah, blah. You know, that's when I kind of roll my eyes a little
Hey,
bit.
he could fight because that's America's ass.
That is America's ass. God
Yeah.
damn, that was.
Can we also talk about the fact that Cap swore more than any other character?
Dude, I literally when
I
he
love
said,
it.
"Let's go get this son of a bitch," I just
Yes.
said language, like
Language!
yeah, reflexively. I was like, "Whoa,
Right.
wow!" But that was like
yeah,
Cap's pissed.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I understand that, but there was other parts where he was just like, "That's America's ass." He wouldn't say that. He'd say, "That's America's butt."
That's America's hindquarters.
But
Yeah.
this is the guy who's also seen so much death. Like
Yeah.
like following Infinity War, this is a different dude.
Yeah.
Like this is also a guy who also left the organization that he felt was helping the world.
Yep.
And he became a nomad, right?
Yeah.
Which they did not call him formally, but that was the character that he took on. So I think those are small signs of things that changed, that stuff has changed over time for Cap.
For sure.
Also, just going on with that beginning of him saying bitch, there was also a very shocking scene immediately following that.
Dude.
Thanos gets his head chopped off.
He immediately gets yeeted like
he
20
gets
minutes,
murdered.
like 15 minutes in. That was awesome.
Yeah,
It's like, like, what have you done? I went for the head. Boom. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
and it's just-
God.
5 years later. Okay,
Yeah,
wait,
wow.
what? We're just gonna accept this?
Yeah.
Dude, that text crawl was so perfectly timed too, with the 5 and then with the beat.
Yep.
Years later, you're like, oh, 5 weeks, 5 months. Oh shit.
Yeah.
You know.
See, I knew where they were going with it.
Yeah,
so
Right.
it's still a
annoying
good
to me.
beat though.
But
Anyways.
Yeah, if you lay it
I'm
out
nitpicking.
there, if you're laying it out there, what fun is there in doing that? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, oh, 5 months, cool. 5 years, cool. Like, no,
Yeah.
like they made it dramatic.
Yeah.
they're
Which is
making
fair.
they're making a movie. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it was good, and it was completely justified with how we saw Thor react at the end of Infinity.
For
War.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Completely justified.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it didn't come out of nowhere.
Can we also talk about how Thor was then the worst part of the movie?
No.
I
Wait,
think
I'm
he was.
defending this.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna defend Thor. I'm
Yeah,
gonna defend
I am
Thor.
not
I
going to
think
defend
talking
Thor.
Hulk was the worst part of the
Oh,
movie.
It's Professor Hulk!
Professor Hulk.
Yeah. Oh,
There was
God.
a comic book storyline of this.
Well, yeah. That,
Mike, I read that comic book story.
Yeah.
It is 90s nostalgia. It is also stuff that
Oh
I
my
did not
God.
think worked. Guys, the best part of Hulk is the fact that there is this dichotomy of a guy who is also smart, but also becomes a fucking rage monster.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to see really either, in my opinion.
I just imagine
Like-
you're just with Valkyrie on this one. You're just like, I like either version of you.
Yeah,
better."
I'm like when Tessa Thompson said that,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, me and Tessa, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
It led to one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Where
What's
he's again the selfie with the kids.
No,
or-
no, not the selfie with the kids, although that was good.
That was
When he
cool.
when he
That was
when he
cool.
gives Ant-Man his taco.
that was a cute scene.
That was
a very
also
cute
good,
scene.
but also not the thing.
Okay,
What is
well,
the thing?
The thing is when they're back in time in the Avengers thing, and they're just like, we need to get to the top of that tower, and he's like, the Captain America goes, maybe smash some stuff.
look
He
at-
like reluctantly rips off his
Yeah, he's
shirt.
like, okay,
and he's like, smash, and
Yeah.
like throws a motorcycle, and like,
Right.
I love that. I thought that was great.
I thought the funnier part was when we saw old Hulk, like
Okay.
beating the shit out of this whatever they're called, like a couple minutes before that little scene. Like
Oh, the Chitauri? Yeah.
The Chitauri?
Chitauri, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
these
yeah.
movies.
Right.
Again, Rock, Chitauri, like...
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's a planet. Like this is all great. There's so much love. I will defend that
There's
Thor.
a talking raccoon and tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's Bradley Cooper is voicing a raccoon.
Vin Diesel's
Pulling
a tree that
Vin
says
Diesel-
3 words.
He's put a lot of emotional weight with those 3 words, man. Anyways, so yeah, in defense of Fat Thor,
Yes.
I thought it was dope that okay. So at first, when I was like, when
They
I saw,
stuck with it.
Yeah, they stuck with it. Exactly, they
stuck
stuck with
with
it. They
that
didn't take the easy way out. And because I was so worried. I'm like, oh man, like during the final battle when he's like, let's kill him properly this time, which was badass. I thought they were just gonna like call some lightning and he was gonna get 6-pack again. You know?
Tail.
Yeah,
I
right.
thought that was gonna happen too. I'm okay that they stuck with it.
Okay.
My problem was just the entire thing. I didn't buy it. I was just like,
you didn't
no.
buy it.
You didn't buy it?
So,
What do you
well,
by
I
that?
mean, like, I bought it in the fact that in the beginning where he was, like, depressed and stuff like that, and he was
Right.
hanging out with Korg and Meek,
Yep.
and they're playing Fortnite.
which
Yeah.
is very forced. I did not like that thing at all. That took
that
me out
that
of
is
it.
definitely like, hey, 13-year-old kids.
Well, and then
Yeah.
also Fortnite is doing a crossover. Like you can get Avengers weapons in the game right now. They did it last year.
wait, time out. Do these movies try to make money?
Yeah, right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
You could
It's
play
just,
as Thanos in Fortnite last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, last
you know,
year you
like,
played
You could also
Thanos,
do
yeah.
this as Thanos.
Yeah, you could
I'm
also floss as
flossing.
Thanos.
I'm
That was
flossing.
pretty great.
And I'm doing this thing.
yeah, you
I
did
don't know what
Orange
this
Justice.
is.
That's I hate myself that I know
Wow.
that. Yeah, I know. I should have. Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know what Orange Justice is, it's fine. It's this thing.
Yeah.
Where
Oh
you
my
cross
God.
your arms back and forth
Anyways,
and go
you know-
up and down.
Anyways,
You
why
can
would,
see this
why would you be
perfectly.
playing?
Oh, yes,
why
it's
would
this thing.
I would have a hard time being convinced that Fortnite would be a relevant game 5 years from now with half the world's population. That's just me. I don't know.
Sure.
Oh.
You're saying like it is
Oh, that's
like
fair.
timestamping itself in 2019?
It's timestamping itself in 2019, and
Okay.
then technically this movie is supposed to take place in like 2024 because like this
Yeah.
part of the movie because it's 5 years later, right?
Oh, wow,
So-
you're really thinking into this.
I
Okay.
am.
I
No,
didn't
like
think
well,
that
that's the thing.
far.
Like,
Yeah,
as soon as
I did not think into that.
well, no,
yeah.
but like it wasn't like a like, but
Right.
that's just one of those like it's fine that they put it in there, I guess.
Why
But
are we
it does
talking
date it.
Fortnite so much on
Yeah,
this?
I know,
Wait,
you're
did
right.
they call it Fortnite, by the way? It clearly was. But
They didn't say the
I
words
don't think
Fortnite.
they ever said
Yeah,
it.
I'm interested to see if they actually name dropped it.
I don't think
but
they name dropped
anyway.
it. They showed gameplay footage of it though.
Right.
So.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is fine.
And,
Whatever.
And the username was something 69, which I thought was
Yeah,
quite-
that was
quite-
good.
quite
That
classic.
was on point.
Mom
Very
Lover
nice.
69 or something.
Was it
Yeah.
Mom?
It was something like
Yeah,
that, though.
something
Like, it
dumb.
was
That's
so
on brand.
sophomore.
That's
yeah,
on brand.
that is on brand.
Yeah.
No, that was perfect.
100% on brand.
So okay, anyway, so you didn't like fat anxious Thor. Why didn't you
Yes.
like fat anxious Thor?
I don't know if it was anxious Thor. It was
He-
just
It was
He has-
fat. It was fat.
He was fat.
It was.
No,
He was fat.
He
That's
was
not what I'm
having. He
calling
was
out.
like literally having like a panic attack, like in Asgard when he's like, well, not panic attack, but like he's like
New Asgard.
what?
New
New
Asgard.
No,
No,
we went back to time
So
to go
when they
fake,
go
to
to
go
Dark
to
World.
go
Oh,
try
yeah,
to
when they
go to
try
Dark
to
World.
try to
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was also because he was
His
having
mom
like
was there.
he was like having an identity crisis with himself because he
Correct.
saw Jane
Yeah,
Well, yes,
and his
I
mother.
yes.
and his mother. Yeah,
Which
that
was-
was, but I don't think that was related to Thanos in any way. I think that was just related to seeing her alive, knowing
It was.
she's
It
gonna
was.
die.
I feel like it was kind of a conflict thing. It was that, and then it was also like, how can I face them right now? Like with like I'm a failure.
look.
You know, like
Yeah.
how I look, how like I'm a failure. Like
He's,
it's
Okay.
yeah.
I'll be honest. Just for me, Thor was the worst part.
Okay.
That's for me. Okay.
Okay. That's a good. That's a good defense in for just for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not
It's,
saying
it's,
like,
it's subjective. I mean, look,
Oh, yeah,
they made a choice.
They did make
Like,
it. They definitely made a choice. And
choice.
if you're like looking for, if you're waiting for Thor to kick some ass, like
Yeah.
I could see how that would be disappointing for sure.
See, we were talking about our first 45 minutes were all subjective, and now
Yeah.
I can't be subjective
No,
about
no,
this
no,
movie.
we're not-
God
No.
damn you guys!
well, I just want to hear a reason why.
Yeah.
Like I guess that's
no.
why.
Okay, so I just thought he was oafish and just like a buffoon, and like they were
Check
going.
and check.
Check. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Agreed.
But I don't think that's Thor. I don't think that's who he is, and so that was the issue for me. Is
Okay.
Yeah, I can
even
see
if
that.
even if he's having an identity crisis, that kind of thing, he's not going to go oafish and buffoonish just because he drinks a lot. He drank a lot before,
Yeah.
and didn't really get drunk because he's
Right.
also an Asgardian.
Well, he did get drunk. And Captain America can't get drunk. 'Cause
No,
of
Captain
his-
America can't get drunk, but yeah,
he
Thor can
famously
definitely
said
get
that
drunk.
in First Avenger. But
Yeah.
I thought Thor hasn't gotten drunk before.
Has he not?
Because like there's that like Doctor Strange thing where he just keeps filling up his beer.
right.
That's a good
Well,
point.
he definitely has. He could pound a couple
Yeah,
back.
he can pound
before
it.
he gets
Yeah,
drunk.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that I thought it was a kind of like a good reflection on his character almost, where like in Thor 1, like when he gets humbled, he gets angry about it and pouty, you know, kind of like a child, right?
Yeah.
And then he got humbled hard in Infinity War, and it made him just self-loathing almost, you know?
Right.
It was kind of...
And they clearly took cues from Ragnarok in terms of how being humbled would look.
Yeah.
Because they went towards the goofy side, which I think is probably your gripe with it, where Thor is definitely... In Infinity War, he was the force that was going to stop Thanos.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, there's no fucking way this guy's going to beat Thanos. So I could totally get that.
Yeah.
Like, the night and day comparison between what he was in part 1 versus part 2, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly,
I
this
get
is,
that.
this is a little cheese whiz, but I also think it's kind of where it's it kind of sends a cool message that like, hey, like he didn't get his fucking like male model body back because
He's still doing Fortnite dances. Sorry.
I'm having a good time over here.
Because it kind of shows that, like, hey, like, you know, even if you're not, like, at your best physically, you can still fucking do your part, you know? Like, he's still, like, at the end, No, it's...
Do your part.
No, but, like, he still fucking showed up, and he still tried his best, and he still helped, you know?
Claire loved the fishtail beard that he had.
Fishtail beard.
I
Rock that shit.
actually am pretty solid on that
I
too.
laughed out loud when that happened.
Yeah.
That was
Like-
what the lightning did? Like, that
Yeah,
is
like
what the
that
lightning
was-
did.
Yeah. That was pretty sweet,
I had a
actually.
good
Now,
time
that
with
being
it.
said, I like the look. It wasn't about the look, it was just, that's what the lightning did.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
hilarious.
Okay, so I'm going back to the fan servicey thing.
Sure.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There is. I want to know your opinion. So, obviously, in the final battle, they're trying to get the gauntlet across the way.
Gauntlet relay race, yeah.
The gauntlet relay race, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a part where Spider-Man falls down,
Yeah.
and all the female Avengers stand in front of him.
That was so on the nose, dude. Like, I did not like that. Like, in terms
I was
of...
wondering your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so, you could see clear as day what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
You're also saying that all the female superheroes were fighting in one cluster.
Yeah.
They're not
Right, that's
spread
a little weird.
I mean, like, look, I mean,
That's
It's fine.
my
It's-
hard part.
Exactly.
To me, it's like, it's just a nod, you know, I guess.
it's
like,
the nod of like, hey, I think it's definitely this is what the future of these movies could look like.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
right.
That's what I want. And that,
Here
like,
are all the young
all
heroes
right,
that are taking over the
give me an
mantle.
all-female backed Avengers cast.
Now,
you know?
that being said, I wonder, because one of the people in there was Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yep.
In the Iron Man suit, or the Iron Woman suit.
Yeah,
What's
it's gonna be
what's her name? What's her name again?
Pepper.
Pepper
No, well,
Potts.
no, it's sorry. The suit name, like it would like
Oh,
she,
I don't know.
it's like a
Yeah,
specific
Iron
kind-
Pepper.
Iron Pepper.
Iron Pots.
Iron Pots.
Iron
Iron
Pots.
Pots. That's pretty good.
That's solid, man. I'm just going with Iron Woman just because.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Iron
I like that
Maiden.
better.
Oh,
I like that
yeah,
better.
yeah,
No!
I'd be into that.
So Iron Maiden, is she
Rescue
taking
is her
over?
name. Sorry. Wait,
Rescue?
yeah,
Rough.
Rescue. Yeah.
Rough name.
Anyways.
Iron Maiden was on the table.
Yeah,
Guys.
I know, but the
Guys.
Yeah.
or Iron Pots.
Iron Pots. Anyways, so Iron Pots,
Pretty
right?
solid, too. Do we think she's taking over? Is she going to be in this next phase?
How much are you gonna pay Gwyneth Paltrow for
Yeah,
her time?
yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You know
what I
sure.
mean?
I could also.
I had that question because all of them seemed like the young
Yep.
taking over.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was one of those things where I was kind of like, we're going to see them all in another movie,
I
except
could
for
see,
Gwyneth Paltrow.
yeah, I could see you could write it both ways, where you could easily see your character just being like, hey, like I just lost my husband, I am going to just go to my family life now, you know,
Which
like
she
you should or
should.
do, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, and that would be a totally convincing, like, you know, plot point, I
Yeah.
think. So
I will say this. This is 3 white guys talking right now.
for sure,
So
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
my little sisters probably look at that scene and
That's what, yeah, exactly. Like,
completely
and-
have a different thing.
yeah,
on it.
if so, because there's so many people that will like see that little like 20-second sequence and be fucking stoked, and that's awesome.
I know
Yeah.
people that are that way. And
Yeah.
great for them. They've seen what it can be now. You know,
Right,
like that kind
exactly.
of thing. And that's great. I'm happy they had that scene.
So Marvel's opening the doors for new stories to be told, and I'm so down for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure,
exactly.
for sure.
But I felt like
So-
they were trying to rehash that Avengers moment from
Yeah.
the first one where they had that pan around them where they're in New York,
Yep,
like
yep,
that
yep.
iconic which they brought back.
That was also good in Age of Ultron, too, in that first fight.
Oh, the
Oh, the very
the
first
splash,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was cool, too.
That was like everybody's Facebook timeline photo for like
Yeah.
6 months or something like that.
Right.
It's so great.
There-
It was really good.
The way it's splashed around everything, it's
Yeah.
just like there's some parts where I'm like, okay, that was cool, and there's some parts where I'm like, why'd you do that? Civil War is a big one for me.
With the airport?
Not with the
Yeah,
airport even.
with one?
The Iron Man versus Captain America fight where he
At the very end.
At the very end?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh.
gotcha.
At the very end, where he shoots the laser at him, and Captain America like holds it, and it's just through this pillar. You see this scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like recreating the cover of Civil War where they had that fight or whatever, or like the panel.
Yep.
And that was like on the nose for me.
Okay.
I still love Civil War, but that one was on the nose for me.
Interesting.
Versus like the Age of Ultron one, I actually really liked. The
I don't know. I
Avengers one I liked where they pan around them and everything.
I honestly live for those hype anime pose moments for sure. Yeah,
All right.
like, and then that final, that whole like that relay race, that whole entire battle scene was filled with those. Like, with this,
Right.
Honestly, the best 5-second shot was Iron Potts and Iron Man like back to back shooting
That
lasers
was
at
awesome.
everything.
Yeah,
I was like,
all right.
it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great time watching that.
And I loved watching when Spider-Man is on Valkyrie's horse. Like
Yeah.
The Pegasus.
The Pegasus,
Pegasus.
yeah. And they're just flying through. I love that scene. I thought that was great because he's like all of a sudden, what the fuck? This
Yeah.
horse is flying. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the best part. He is such an avatar for the audience.
He is.
Oh,
Because
yes.
he's so fresh into this entire world.
Right.
Where he's like, I just learned that time wizards exist. Oh, now
Yeah,
here's
yeah,
this
yeah.
flying horse.
Right.
Remember, hey, Mr. Stark, like, Doctor Strange just showed back up, and he said it's been 5 years, and he said they need us, so we're here. And then he just gives him a hug, and I was like, oh, that's so good.
And he's like, what?
It's like,
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
this is nice.
Yeah.
Well, and it goes back to Homecoming when he just wanted to hug at the limo, and then, anyways.
Oh, man, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
All right.
Tom Holland. Dude, I'm so
Okay.
excited for Far From
great.
Home.
Yeah, I'm excited, but I also need to keep my expectations in check because I know it's not going to be the same lightning in the bottle for me as Homecoming. Because
No, there's no way.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
I'm keeping it low, just because what I've seen of Mysterio, I'm not a big fan of. Jake Gyllenhaal's
He might be a hero. Like, the more I'm
Right,
watching
exactly,
the trailer,
yeah.
like,
Well,
he might
my-
be on
my
Spider-Man.
thing
So I'm
is
wondering
that
if they're
he's-
gonna pull the rug out.
no, I think they're
Yeah.
going to pull the rug out and that he's causing the natural disasters and saving people for notoriety. And that's my thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Hashtag spoilers for Far From Home?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like
Potential spoilers?
that seems like a very Mysterio thing to do.
I feel like
I don't know.
Scorpion's gonna come in this somehow
Put
because.
Scorpion.
But do you
Interesting.
remember that end credit scene?
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he was in
yeah,
jail
that's
with
true.
Vulture, and Vulture didn't give the information up or whatever.
Yep.
I need to rewatch that.
Yeah. So there's the
Okay.
end credit scene, and it's obviously Scorpion.
Right,
It's-
right.
Yeah.
So
The end credit scene I remember is the Captain America one.
Yeah, that was a good one, yeah.
that is
That one was
probably
so
still
good.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's
this
a
was
top
like
tier
big
after
credit.
credit scene.
Yeah.
and then end credit was the greatest one of all time.
yes,
I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
that's attention.
We didn't rank end scenes, guys.
Oh man, we need to rank end
That's-
scenes and Stanley cameos. Oh crap!
Yeah.
We could go on with
We
that.
could go on.
Those are two other podcasts right there.
Yeah, this one I'm letting it go as long as possible because really, let's just get our thoughts out about Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say kind of on a totally different note. I actually like the first act a lot in terms of as they introduced time travel, but they at least made it feel kind of earned how they got to it. You know, like I kind of liked that kind of like 15-ish minutes where they're like, okay, like Tony's in on the plan, we need to figure this out. Let's figure out the right like places to get those Infinity Stones. And so
Yeah.
like it's kind of like not the last hurrah for all these characters together, but you can see how much they're trying, and you can kind of tell that like, oh man, like they're happier now because they have something to do, you know,
Right.
like they have something to push
Right.
forward towards.
Something
Well,
to
there's something
move
to hope
on
for.
from.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was well written in terms of like even before we got to Endgame, like Hank Pym being gone is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is a big deal because you only have X amount of Pym particles at this point.
Right.
I did like that part.
You know, so
Yeah.
you could tell that overall, whether that's Kevin Feige overlooking this or if they just had the writers really sit down and take and consider who are all the players who could potentially be in Endgame and who should not be in Endgame,
Right.
and for them to make those choices before they even start filming, I thought was a really big deal.
For sure.
So yeah, I thought everything was earned, and I love the way that Scott Lang had a much bigger role in this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Arguably bigger than he had in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
seriously.
So that's why I said like, oh, dude, I need to go see some Ant-Man right now. You know, like
Yeah.
like that totally this movie more than Civil War totally sold me on his character.
Did you feel confused at all? Like
No.
Okay.
You guys gave me the lowdown though on like what
That's
happened
true.
at the end.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
I forgot
as soon
about
as it
that,
panned to that car, I was like, okay, this is at the end of Ant-Man
Yeah.
and the Wasp. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There seemed to be one moment where Evangeline Lilly says you got it, Cap, and then they look at each other and give him a knowing glance. That must have been a reference to something.
It was because he was talking about how he fought alongside Captain America.
Yeah.
Like in the previous Ant-Man and the Wasp, he was just I'm on house arrest because I fought with Captain America. That was the thing.
That's why he missed Infinity War. Also, why
Yeah.
Hawkeye missed Infinity War. Even though he was filming Tag.
And it broke his arms. filming Tag.
broke
He
his
broke his
arms,
arms
yeah.
filming Tag?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Because he did his own stunts.
Yeah.
You are not Tom Cruise. Stop it.
Dude, no, it's Tom Cruise. That guy's
I
insane.
know, right?
So 2 things I absolutely loved. I loved how it opened.
I did too.
We come back with Hawkeye, and then we still see the effects of the Snapshot, as it's been called on the internet.
Snapshot.
And then my favorite moment, and this is absolute fan service, and I am here for it every day, is Mjolnir going to Captain America.
That was the hypest moment for sure. Oh, man.
I remember reading JLA versus the Avengers and seeing Mjolnir go to Superman and having that same feeling when I was reading it. And it was just shit. And of course, Captain America wields the hammer in the comics for a time as well. And that is a payoff from Ultron. There's, a lot of different beats were considered. Yeah, jerk me off now. That's exactly...
No, that's not what I was doing. I was doing when they tried to move Mjolnir, and he moved it just the half an inch.
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
I was jerking it.
Yeah, I was jerking.
Just thinking about it. Yeah.
You were jerking yourself, apparently. Whoa.
Oh, my God.
Nice and clean. But anyway, so yeah, you get the
got
little
really
budge.
awkward.
No, and I thought, what had changed from the time we had seen him try in Ultron and what has made him worthy since. And the only thing that I could think of, outside of the reason of having that awesome moment, was he still had I'm not sure if you would call it a secret or just the knowledge of Winter Soldier and his relationship with Iron Man and that little darkness in terms of keeping that secret.
Yeah, right.
It would probably kept him from being the true, someone who is worthy, as Thor calls it.
See, I just didn't think he was
Mjolnir.
worthy until he did something like Stand Up to the Sokovia Accords, where he was completely out on his own because he just followed whatever was told.
Right, that kind of
He
established
still followed
him.
Shield.
He's a soldier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a soldier.
exactly. He's a soldier.
Yep.
This was the first moment where he's like, "Hey, I'm a soldier, but for the wrong team. I gotta step up
He went
on
out
my
on his own.
Yep. And
That's a good point too. That's a good point.
That was one of those moments where I was like, okay, maybe that made him worthy.
Yeah.
I buy that more. It's a bigger part of his arc too.
Yeah.
Whereas that thing that I mentioned is specifically a part about Civil War, where the Sokovia Accords, we're talking all the way to Infinity War.
Yeah.
It has lasting effects.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I buy that. I
Yeah.
definitely buy that. So I lost it when I saw it.
Yeah, that was
No, that was a cool moment.
sick. and then they get a nice nod from Thor, no, he's like, wait, which one? And you're like, oh no, I get the bigger one. Okay, nice.
Of course, he gets Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
He has to have the
He
big
made
one.
Stormbreaker with
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage made it for him.
And
yeah.
Groot.
And
And Groot, yes. Yeah, you're right, and Groot.
The first time Team Groot actually did something for the bigger cause.
Aw.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Groot again. He didn't really get much love in
He
this
didn't
movie.
get much
No,
love,
I mean,
no.
yeah, it's hard when you have 60-some
there
characters.
was so many
that
characters
That's
that
the
you're
thing.
just like, I wish they had more time, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's a 3-hour movie.
It's a 3-hour
Yeah,
movie.
right? No, I
Let's-
actually
let's-
I
let's call it
liked.
what it is.
This was I like that this was the movie for the old goons.
Yeah.
This is the movie for the original Avengers, right?
Yeah.
This is their last send off.
So I saw a
That's
tweet
yeah.
where this kid, 18-year-old guy, was crying at Endgame.
Okay.
And the guy, he wasn't pointing out that he was crying to embarrass him or anything like that. He asked him his story and everything like that. And he said, I saw Iron Man when I was 8.
Wow.
And now
Wow.
he is 18 and he's seen Endgame and it's just that full, he grew up with this. You know? It's one of those things. We did too, pretty much, you know?
For sure.
It was
8 to 18, those are your really
Yeah,
formative
that's
years.
exactly.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not that, but we're
Dude, I played
enough
all.
for-
Man, I'm equating that to if I if I played Legend of Zelda and they just ended Legend of Zelda with
Right.
killing off Link, I'd probably cry too, dude.
Oh yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And so it was one of those moments, and so it was a really cool tweet to me. I retweeted it and everything because it was just that. That's it. That's what these movies are to us. So,
Yeah, for sure.
They are.
Well, and I was talking to Mitch about this on the walking into the theater to see Endgame. I am so fucking stoked that this movie didn't start it, but it kind of codified it, and that all of these freaking nerdy movies are an event now. They
Right.
are just so huge, and everyone is in on it.
Yep.
You know. Like we used to get like liking these stories was not cool when we were little kids, and even less so like before, right?
Right.
So like and there are people that are bellyaching about like how like like MCU is too generic and it has too much broad audience appeal, but like these are bringing characters that you would have never seen before into the like the big spotlight. That
You know what it's also doing? It's bringing people to the theaters.
For
which
sure,
is
right?
a huge struggle. Like outside, like some Disney films, like Dumbo, did not do well. But there are some films that bigger companies like this are struggling to find.
Yeah.
And here are the Russo brothers who have definitely mastered the language of the Avengers and what that means to the broader audience. And guys, like a billion plus over the first weekend.
Dude, in less than 48 hours or something like that?
It's insane. Look, I'm a big film critic and I'm definitely a snob, but damn, I'm here for these movies. I love them so much because they just hit the chords exactly where they need to hit. And
going into Endgame, I literally said to Claire, I've never been so excited for a movie.
Right?
I've never been so
Exactly.
excited for a movie.
Exactly. And that's what I miss. I miss, or at least because I don't think my siblings have the same relationship with film that I do in terms of the experience of going to a theater, sitting down with popcorn and experiencing something with a room full of strangers and hearing their audible reactions to stuff that's happening on screen.
Right.
That's in a weird off way community building and feeling like, wow, like we all share the same experience with the story and stuff. There are very few of those. When I went to go see High Life, which was the Robert Pattinson movie I talked about a couple podcasts ago, I was one of 3 people in the theater. It's a small indie flick, you know? And even the ones that are, the films that are quote unquote designed to draw in big crowds, sometimes they miss. Guys, I'm forecasting Sonic the Hedgehog not being like a really successful movie.
Are you kidding me right now? Sonic
I think
is going
that's easy to forecast.
Exactly.
They chose Gangster's Paradise as their main
God
theme.
damn it,
Like,
Sonic.
who's this movie for?
He has human
Exactly.
teeth. He's a nightmare creature.
Exactly. So I think it's always a win when you're able to draw people to the cinema. Like whether it's for Endgame or whether it's for whatever, Star is Born, it could be a number of different things. Exactly. I only bring it up because of Mike.
I felt like that was a shot.
No, absolutely. Because it's,
I'm not going to it.
But I'm just so excited that these movies still exist.
Yeah.
For sure.
Where box office attendance is down, but there's still a film out there that could bank $1 billion in one weekend.
It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here.
I think there's going to be a drop.
There's going to be a drop. There's got to be. Yeah.
There's going to be a hell of a drop to Spider-Man.
Yep.
Well, yeah, just from I think Spider-Man will do better than like Ant-Man did after
Infinity.
Oh yeah, the characters are just better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a decent amount for Spider-Man. After that, I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
to
for
see
sure.
what happens.
Because everything else is just a huge question mark.
Now, is there going to be an intro, do you think, to previously Fox characters?
I heard rumors that Silver Surfer was the first character that they wanted to play with, and I don't know why.
Okay.
But is it a way to introduce Galactus? But
Right, that's the thing. Because like
you need the next big Earth killer.
Do you need the next big Earth killer? I mean, like
it would either be him or it would be. God, I think Galactus would have to be it. I mean,
he's the only one
big bad.
after Thanos, right?
I want to see Doctor Doom kick some ass, but
I do too, but the problem is we're talking about the next big Earth killer.
Right.
Doctor Doom isn't an Earth killer.
No, but he's also like a huge villain in terms of just like charisma and just I don't know, like character, like narrative weight almost, rather than just I don't know. Yeah.
Eventually, like the stakes of the universe gets old.
It
right?
does.
And that's where I think something like Homecoming. And
it's the escalation problem that like every long range show runs into almost, Yeah,
and Black Panther was centered around Wakanda. It's like if you're able to focus a little bit more narrowly on the stakes, I think your movie does better, especially when you've already hit those beats.
Right.
America's under attack or the world is under attack.
Right.
Yeah.
This only worked because of all the hard work that was done in Infinity War.
For sure.
Because Thanos won, and now they need revenge. So, it was a whole new stakes because it was personal.
Yeah, because you're right, they made it a personal story. It wasn't just, well, guys, we got to do the right thing and save the world again one last time. It was it was more than that.
That's a great line reading, dude.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah, that was like an Age of Ultron.
Whoops. Hey, guys, sorry I made an evil robot. Gotta go take care of that now. Whoops.
I do love the part where Tony was like, I wanted a suit of armor
Yes.
around the world.
Dude, that
yes.
first
was fun.
not opening scene, but like when they first land and he is fucking like laying into Cap.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
How
Man.
gaunt he looked too.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
effects on that scene I thought
Right.
was low key very well done.
And I also did like how he was, even though he was really mad at them and was like, I wanted a suit of armor around the world. Okay, if we don't talk shop, you can come in and have lunch.
Yeah,
like
for
he's
sure.
still,
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
are my friends. Like
Yep.
I still want to do stuff for you.
Right.
But as long as we don't talk about this,
Yeah.
come on in.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
he had that in his head he had Thanos in his head for 8 years, right? Or was that the line from Infinity War?
Yeah.
He's been
I
in
think
my
so,
head
yeah.
for that long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got lucky. Like
Right.
he survived. He was able to get back to Earth. Him and Pepper have a family now with Morgan as his daughter. Like,
Yep.
like I felt like that was one perspective of the Snapshot that was not thoroughly explored by the others.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
people lost loved ones. Thor lost basically half of Asgard.
Yeah.
And then here comes Iron Man, who kind of bailed out. And,
He almost lost nothing.
He almost lost
Well,
nothing.
yeah, well, he-
in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Again, it was a good opposite.
Right.
It was a good foil for Cap's situation where like Tony went reclusive,
Yep.
started a family and made it work for him. And then meanwhile, like Cap, the first scene we see him in is some of this like not alcoholics, not AA meeting, but similar kind of like
Right.
like self-help group.
Yep.
And he's like trying to help other people that he doesn't even know.
It's a Snappers Anonymous meeting almost.
Snappers Anonymous,
Exactly.
yeah. Which also excellent cameo from one of the Russo brothers.
I
think.
believe that's Anthony. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Also, we got a cameo from Matthew Berry.
Oh,
That's true, yeah.
My God, whoever plays fantasy football out there, you definitely can't miss this cameo. You
Yes.
cannot
That was
miss
such a
Matthew
good
Berry's
cameo.
So good. Yeah.
That was funny. I really liked it.
I mean, he was bossing Tony Stark around a little
was,
bit.
yeah.
yeah.
It was
I mean,
great.
how
He was
cool
having
is
some fun.
that?
fun
Yeah.
with that.
Oh, okay. So among the 3 different, or I guess 4, if you count where Black Widow and Hawkeye
Boromir.
go, exactly. So among all those different journeys, which one was your favorite? Because they go to different movies essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. My gut wants to say Avengers because that's such the easy answer, like just reliving. Like,
Right.
It's such easy nostalgia.
Yep.
Well, and the way they played with it too. There's a Loki out there now.
There's a Loki out there.
Yeah, exactly.
It has the elevator scene where
They
with
go to the
Hail
elevator.
Hydra, which was
Yeah.
dope, and then it's cap on cap action.
Yep.
It's got
Yeah.
America's ass twice.
Right.
Yeah.
And they added a new wrinkle to the attack when you see
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton,
not shooting
and
down
then-
dudes.
Yeah, that was
Exactly.
pretty good too. With Professor Hulk at
Right.
Tilda Swinton. and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You realize this is a fully realized universe, right?
Yeah.
Like they consider all the different options when they're revisiting these scenes, which
Yep.
I thought was really cool.
Right.
I'd probably have to agree with that. And then the second one, God, I'm just not a Thor Dark World guy, so
No,
I can't
yeah,
say.
no.
But I will say it did have some redeeming qualities.
It almost made Thor Dark World a little bit better in retrospective, just because it kind of gave some sort of emotional resonance to that movie that lacked a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't know if that's giving more credit to Endgame than I am to
Right.
But I also didn't
Dark
like
World,
how
but
Rocket's like, this plan's not going to work unless you do this. He didn't do it.
And
Rocket
he still
made it
worked.
work.
It still
Exactly.
worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was cheap.
definitely
You're right.
cheap.
You're right.
So that was another thing where I was
They
kind of
copped
like,
out of it.
all right.
For a little
That was
bit, yeah. Did they use like stock footage of Natalie Portman, or did she actually show up for that movie?
From what I read, that's her. Like in the
No,
film.
yeah, I believe it's her,
not
but was
stock.
it-
It's not
okay,
stock
got it.
footage. Like
Alright.
she showed up for an hour.
Got it. Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
if that.
If
Yeah,
that.
she was 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because we saw the back of Jane, and then I'm like, okay, so they didn't bring her back. And
Right.
then they have that one scene where she's coming up from the bed or whatever.
Yep.
So, from what I read and like half-ass internet research, that's what I found. So
Okay.
Cool.
take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike?
I mean, I would say Avengers just because that was the one.
Yeah.
That was the big one. I like the 70s. When
70s
they
was
did
good.
that. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a new wrinkle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't bad. It was on the nose with like it's both Howard Stark and Agent Carter. Like they were
Right.
both there.
Yeah, it is convenient.
But with what they established in First Avenger, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It does.
It
Yeah.
totally does.
So that was a little bit like on the nose for me. I like the Vormir scene.
Yeah.
Which is I'm sorry, which
with
one is
That's
that?
the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
Hawkeye and
Yep,
Black Widow.
Okay.
Can we also talk about the fact Black Widow didn't get a funeral? They kind of just forgot about her.
Yeah.
She's on a different planet, and she's gonna come back.
They don't
for
really have a
prequel
body,
movie.
so
It's fine.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I will say like
But-
no, like there's like a beat in the middle, like not middle, like closer, like at the end of Act 2, I guess, where they're mourning Black Widow, like like Professor Hulk is pissed, chucks the bench, and then they're like,
Hulk, jeez.
But
And,
that's what I'm saying though. Is like
Yeah.
it's just he chucks the bench. Hawkeye's angry.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of okay. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Let's keep going.
yeah,
Because now I've still got the Soul Stone, so we're good. It's fine.
Well, I don't know if it's we're good. But
it's more like
we have to carry on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we have
It's
to
like,
carry on.
Well, let's finish it.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where like I was kind of
No, definitely. Like,
okay.
What was the mantra? At any cost, or
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. So
Whatever
I
it
feel like
takes.
that was what they were digging
Understood,
at,
but at
you
the
know?
end they still couldn't give her something. They gave Tony a funeral.
True. Yeah,
No,
well,
for sure.
Tony had a very dramatic death.
He did.
Yeah.
He had a very dramatic.
So
Yeah,
did
she
she.
Yeah, she should have said.
Yeah, but only
threw herself off a
only
cliff.
Red
Yeah.
Skull and Hawkeye.
Yeah,
were there to see
right.
it.
No. What she should have done was she should have just looked Hawkeye dead in the eyes and said, "I am Black Widow," and then jumped over. And then Red Skull would have
And
been like,
snapped
yeah,
on her way
yeah.
down.
I'm also a little upset that Nebula just sent him and was just like, "You'll be fine," not giving them any warning.
I was telling
like,
Mitchell
hey,
about this. It would have been hilarious if they sent because they didn't know. Well, because
I don't
Nebula
think
might
Nebula
know.
knew.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
well,
don't think
she
Nebula knew
knew
either.
that
She knew
Gamora
Gamora
died.
died.
Yeah, but she didn't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Yeah.
It would have been hilarious if the Hulk.
It's hard to say like, okay, someone has to kill the other. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true too. Yeah, it would have been hilarious if Nebula and the Hulk ended up being on that same mission, and then Red Skull gives them the lowdown, and then the Hulk's like, "Well, I guess you're fine," but
Hulk's throw.
yeah, well, yeah. I think if you chuck Nebula off the cliff, no Soul Stone. Hulk ain't got no love for Nebula.
That's true. Yeah,
That's what
you're
I mean,
right. You're
yeah,
right.
like-
Yeah.
Look, if there's an hour and a half extra in that movie, I would have been, as Hawkeye, I would have been like, hey, Red Skull, do you want to go on a date real quick?
Right, yeah,
really
yeah,
start
yeah,
a
yeah.
relationship.
Do if they had a rom-com in the middle of Endgame.
Yes, and then he kills Red Skull.
And honestly,
I
very
just have
After
to
he
say-
did something.
I just have to say.
Yeah.
So we've played Dungeons and Dragons before. You are such a bard.
Oh, yeah.
Such a fucking bard.
Let me take you to dinner first before I kill you for the Soul Stone.
Enchant love.
Because, I'm not killing ScarJo, right? She's
Yeah,
cool?
right.
Yeah, we
She's
went...
got a prequel movie. She'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
She'll
She'll
be
be
fine.
fine. And then Hawkeye has his Disney Plus thing, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, he has a TV show, doesn't he?
Yeah, so...
Wasn't
Is
it
it with
supposed to be?
Rome?
I'm really
Can I-
curious. Yeah.
I'm not totally changing, but that Tokyo scene in the beginning of the movie was so random and out there, but I was here for it. That single shot scene. Yeah, exactly.
That was fantastic. I'm
No,
on.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was like a fucking
We have to
weeb
show that
paradise.
he is now off the deep end. And
Yeah, but
killing
they did it in
people.
the most anime weeb ass way possible.
Yeah.
Like you're
Oh,
fighting in
absolutely.
Tokyo.
It's like,
And,
okay,
yeah,
it's in the rain.
Yeah, it's in the
All the
rain,
neon
and
lights.
you just did the motion where he cleans his blade
Cleans
with
his
this.
blade.
With this
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so on board. with
It
that.
was good. It's
And
like,
then he
this
has
is
the
awesome.
haircut. I mean,
He's got that, the
it's
fucking
everything.
fade. Oh, it was good.
I still love the meme, when your hairdresser turns into dust in the middle of a haircut. It shows his hair.
Oh, that's a little fucked up.
That's rough. That's
it
rough.
But pretty
Totally
on point.
awesome. Yeah.
But pretty on point.
Yep.
Oh god.
All right.
So anyway, my last thought for you guys.
Yeah.
So obviously the cinematic universe implies films making its way to theaters. A lot of the characters that we know and love are going to find their way to Disney Plus. It's going to be a big push for that company. Do we have any reservations about experiencing these stories inside our homes as opposed to going to a theater with an audience?
I do, only because I've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That might sound a little harsh,
Ooh,
but...
that's a good point though.
Yeah.
But I've
That's
also
solid.
seen Daredevil. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
they're
I'm
right.
not sure
It
what
could go either
direction
way.
they're
It could
gonna
go either
into.
way.
My
Yeah.
hard part is that one of these shows is featured on Hawkeye. I think
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of Hawkeye.
I'm
and
with you on that.
I was almost kind of this movie, how are they going to make Hawkeye such a big deal in this movie?
Sure.
And they did well. And,
Yeah, they did.
Hawkeye, I think, was handled very well.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, at the end of the day, he's a human that shoots a bow and arrow.
Right. That's a tough sell.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a very
it's going
tough
to be
sell.
hard to make a TV show. 13 episodes, 20 episodes, whatever
It
it
would
is.
also be hard to find that balance, because I was actually curious about this when they did the whole Netflix initiative, right? Where they're like, all right, we're going to do we're going to do the Defenders and everything. I'm like, oh, how are they going to tie into the movies? And the answer is they didn't,
Yeah.
So I wonder if if they do that for these Disney Plus shows, like how do you find that balance of like, can we expect people to watch 20 plus movies and 10 plus seasons of TV shows?
My hard part going back to your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I felt like they were left high and dry. So like the end of the first season kind of got a little good. They were
full disclosure, I have not seen a single episode.
Yeah. Go for it. Keep
yeah. So I watched the first season. The end of the first season was actually pretty good. They had a good twist, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I think they got left high and dry because of Winter Soldier.
They did get it left high and dry, and I have the exact opposite opinion because and it's weird because no one told them that Hydra was going to be infiltrated by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And when they did that, I thought the show got way better.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude, I loved it.
All right.
I loved how they handled the twist. Like it immediately made the dynamics of that core group of characters way more interesting. Only because of what was his name? Ford? Was that the guy?
Grant.
Grant. Yeah. Like he immediately I have an emotional there's an emotional centerpiece character now to me that I'm like, oh man, like.
And it was Ward, not Ford.
Ward.
Yeah, Grant
there you
Ward.
go. See, I love this character so much, can't even remember his last name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with the fact that he was Hydra and everything like that. Hey, spoilers for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you haven't seen the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
you can just maybe pass on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe.
Just see the first season, I guess.
I'm not watching it.
If you go, seriously though, the first 8 episodes are rough. They're really hard to get through.
It's like random X-File adventures with all of Marvel Cinematic Universe's very, very, very small random side characters.
But episode 9 through the rest of the first season, I'd say is like, okay, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, because you center more on Agent Coulson.
And that's honestly where I stopped too.
Sure.
I didn't pick up.
I stopped at the end of season 2 because then it got more into Inhuman stuff a little bit, and that centered around Skye, who I think is a massive Mary Sue character. So I don't know. It wasn't really Meh. Anyways,
it'll be interesting to see, especially with Hawkeye. It's basically just Arrow.
Right. Well, the fact that they're giving Hawkeye as big of as big of a character as Hawkeye a TV show, same with Loki, that gives me more hope that they're going to tie more into make them more consequential to the overall plot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually want that, but on paper it would sound sweet, because that was kind of disappointing. Where at least with the Netflix shows, they fed into each other, which was cool. But no one ever mentioned Jessica Jones. We never saw.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Daredevil and Spider-Man interact at some point, right?
Yeah.
Come on,
I would not have been opposed if the Defenders
different
made their
boroughs, but they're in New York.
Exactly, yeah. The way they play, the way the
You know who else is different boroughs?
Who?
Captain America and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't live in New York anymore. But
He's busy. He's busy running his presidential campaign. Now.
Yo, I'm from Queens.
Yo, from Queens.
Yo, I'm slinging here.
That's why I like Homecoming when he's trying to disguise his voice in the fucking in the Washington mind everything's gonna be all right, ma'am. That's so good.
Love that.
It's so
I
good.
thought that was a good moment.
All right. Well, it seems like we are running out of steam on this a little
Yes,
bit.
we are.
Yeah,
I need to watch that game again. I've only seen it once, and it's still very raw emotionally for me.
I think I'm gonna watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You guys totally sold me on it.
Yeah, wow, really? With my lukewarm
no.
reception?
Fuck
luck.
no. I'm
I already
definitely gonna watch
spoiled the ending for season 1, and
You
here,
guys definitely sold me on Incredible Hulk and Thor: The Dark World. The movies I've seen bits and pieces of.
Dude,
not the
Thor
full thing.
or the Incredible Hulk.
Let me just give you a hint. Incredible Hulk is free on demand.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my.
So I've had the capabilities.
I would watch that movie drunk. Take a drink every time you see some really awful CGI. It'll be plastered in half an hour.
Let's make a drinking game out of this.
Okay.
Actually,
I'm into that. Let's
Okay.
do it.
come on over. Let's make a drinking game.
All right.
I'm so in.
All right.
Play some Edward 40 Hands. Watch some Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I wasn't gonna do Edward 40.
What are we in
but-
college again?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, I need to be
bored.
blasted for this. Anyways.
All right. Well, we are going to have another episode maybe next week. I haven't talked to you guys yet. Do you want to do next week?
I'm
Or
in.
do you want?
Okay.
Okay.
Of course I'm in. Yeah.
All right. We'll do another one next week. We're going to see actual movies.
Oh,
Just
God.
a reminder.
I'm not gonna see
These
an
are
actual
actual
movie.
movies. These
Sorry.
are definitely.
Well,
actual
yeah.
movies.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
besides that,
I'm going to actually have to pay up on
Yeah.
my awful movie.
Yes.
Damn it.
Andre is in the barrel for the losing movie. Yep.
I can't wait.
Oh, I'm
The
so
trailer
excited.
was so bad.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I've got a few movies I'm messing around with in the head, and now it makes it better because I feel like nobody is going to be at the theater this week to see anything else but Endgame.
True.
Yep.
True.
So I can sneak in and see a movie by
shit.
myself.
Oh,
Absolutely.
man.
What?
Detective Pikachu's next week.
It is next week.
Bro.
I'm seeing that. I want to talk about it.
Well,
I'll say-
you can
I'll say
see
it
it
with
next
you.
week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you have it, but
It's going to be after the episode.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's May 10th.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, fine.
Not this upcoming week,
Yeah,
next
yeah,
week.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Shazam. Let's just
Yeah,
see
Shazam. Well, fuck it.
Well, I'm going to go
Shazam.
see Shazam, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah.
All three of us?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
do it.
Guys, you just heard a date happen here on
Okay.
the podcast.
I don't know when we're going to be able to see it, but sure.
Yeah,
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that will be our MCU discussion for today.
Cool.
That'll do it for myself, Mike.
And Mitchell.
And Andre.
Any last thoughts, guys? Any last words?
We ended an MCU podcast on Shazam.
Yeah, I know.
I
That's
know, that
hilarious.
feels a little backhanded there.
Yeah.
We also talked about Arrow at one point, like a little bit,
Oh, man.
just a dash. But
Ollie Queen, dude. What a guy.
I'm excited.
What a guy.
I'm not ending on that.
I've never seen a single
You know what?
minute
With the
of that
Marvel
show.
Cinematic Universe ending, I'm excited for the Smash Brothers universe, with the first entry being Detective Pikachu and the second being Sonic.
Oh.
Ooh. This is a terrible universe.
Wow.
And Mario's coming up soon.
Oh yeah, that's gonna come, isn't it?
Dude.
You made Mitchell feel really sad.